young again. That's all I'm going to say today.
Yes, indeed, we believe in this nation. We believe in Nigeria. We believe in you and I. And so let's talk about what Nigerians are doing at the Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast. Nigeria has won her first gold medals at the 21st Games taking place in Australia. Guess where the first gold medals came from? From the Paralympians.
Seems usual, huh?
Seems the usual. Now, the medal haul has increased to para weightlifters, that's where the first gold medals came from. The medals haul now stand as about 22. Let me be sure of that before I dash some people. I'll go with us. Okay, so we now 22 medals, 9 gold, 7 silver, 6 bronze medals. And let me call out the names. Aminat Adeni defeated Canada's Michelle Vasari in the women's wrestling 62-kilogram freestyle Nordic to win gold. Faith Obazwai settled for silver in the women's para-table tennis after she lost 3-1 against Melissa Tapia of Australia. Quartet of Patience Okon-George, Glory Nathaniel, Praise Idama Dudu, and Yinka Ajayi ran a time of 3 minutes, 25.29 seconds to win silver in the women's 4x400 meters relay, while sprint queen Blessing Okagbare led Nigeria's women's 4x100 team to win bronze with a time of 42.75 seconds. These are just some of the those are picked medals at the Commonwealth Games for Nigeria, but we'll still talk about the Oboro Dudu and the Chioma and others that won gold medals. But to help us look at all of this, we have in the studio here Tunde Koiki, a sports administrator and commentator. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And then I think we have a guest from our Abuja studio. Not yet. We're expecting Jide Fashikun from our Abuja studio to join us. Tunde, so 22 medals. What do you think?
Well, I'd say it's been a fair performance, considering the fact that we've been plagued by the usual issues of poor preparations, poor performance, low paucity of funds, athletes who are not in form or who are below the required quality. I'd say it's been a fair performance. Also, the fact that almost half of our medals came from the efforts of our Paralympic contingent continues to show that Nigeria hasn't done well by any standards in terms of the kind of assistance and the kind of inputs, the kind of investments they make in the Paralympians. They've always come out to save our blushes. At the Rio Olympic Games, at the Commonwealth Games, at any international fora, you can be guaranteed that our Paralympians.
The question would be, how is it then that we do not take advantage of our areas of strength? If we know that these are the people that always give us medals, how is it that we don't invest in them?
Nyota, that is a question that continues to confound.
$1 million question.
It's a $1 million question. Actually, it's probably $12 million question. It continues to confound. The average, I've had opportunity. I've been blessed with the opportunity to relate with many of these Paralympians, and what they go through is absolutely mind-blowing. It can move you to tears. Things as simple as getting from home to the stadium to train, it is difficult. I mean, an able-bodied man running after a bus is difficult. Now imagine you don't have legs, or you have just one, or you have one limb. It's pretty difficult. Their trainings they go through tremendous amounts of trouble just to be able to get to the stadium. And you know the funny part is that a lot of them are actually breadwinners for families of able-bodied people. Because by going to these international fora, many of them are well known, they get prize money, they get rewarded by the government. All this money is plowed back into their families. And they continue to do the country proud, but they never really get, the true recognition that they deserve. It's heartrending.
Okay. When they were leaving, what were your expectations?
When the Nigerian contingent?
The Nigerian contingent, yes.
Well, my expectations have been fulfilled in the sense that I knew that wrestling would give us medals. I also knew that para-powerlifting would also give us medals as well. The Nigeria's wrestling program is probably one of the best in Africa, despite the fact that they have been operating with limited funds and almost atrocious circumstances. They continue to squeeze water out of rock and produce miracles. And this is due to the fact that someone like Daniel Egali, who is the president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation and his board consistently ensure that these athletes are put to the forefront of international competitions. They do their best to get them
They're
training.
still not getting support.
They're still not getting as much as they should.
They should.
Because
Okay.
Nyota mentioned something about looking at areas of comparative advantage. And wrestling is one of them. We've consistently provided wrestlers who are some of the best in the world. I mean, most of the Nigerian wrestlers on this contingent are ranked top 5 in their category in the world. And you wonder why these investments are not being made.
Okay, so we have joining us from our Abuja studio, Jide Fashikun, who's a former athlete. Jide, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure being here again.
Yeah, so your colleagues are out there in Australia doing the nation proud. From what you've seen and the news that's filtered in from there, what would you say, how would you rate the performance and what do you think can be done more?
First of all, I think we have to praise the athletes for whatever they have done because, again, like Tunde Koiki did say, we did not, as a nation, provide the environment that would have made them to excel better than they have done so far. But again, beyond this, we cannot continue to live on government to continue to fund sports. Because we also know too well that no government anywhere in the world can provide the kind of money that is required to take sports to where we desire it to be.
So why do you think that the private sector is not coming in? Because some of these athletes go out there and actually do the country proud. Why is private sector not keying into this to get the advantage that will come to them?
The private sector operators are people who are in business to make money. Now, they want a situation where you have a product that can attract their corporate object, or that can meet and attract their corporate objectives. And now, if you have to look at the entire Nigerian sports industry, it's only wrestling and Scrabble that I will say have the product to actually sell. Now, even the way our federations are designed, I do not see any of the federations being able to also, at the same time, organize sports in the communities and still go ahead to market their sport. A situation where, sometimes back, we used to have what is called the Team Nigeria, which is a totally private sector institution that was raising funds. Why did that fund die? I mean, nobody's asking questions. We had one in 1994, the Nigerian Sports Development Fund Incorporated. Why have we not used it as a warehouse to run structures that can bring the funds? These are fundamental questions which we have deliberately over the years refused to manage well. Now, when the Sports Commission was so-called cancelled and the ministry was brought back, it made the entire system even worse.
Now, athletics seem to be a very important part of any games. I think they have the largest crowd. What would you say about our performance this year?
If we have to look at the quality of how much, as a nation, we have invested into athletics, then I would say that then we have gotten more than our investment from them. It is the largest sport in the country. But again, what exactly have we, as a nation, done to support our athletes? Practically zero. The Ministry of Sports had to put them together into camp just about 2 months to the Games. If you want to really prepare an athlete for international podium success, you need about 2,400 program days, which is about 6 years in the Gregorian calendar. Now, these are issues that has not been in place. And ordinarily, Nigerian sports, completely as an industry, has been facing down south for over the last couple of 15 years. So we really need to know what we want and decide how we want to place our nation in the international community of sports.
Tunde, like the elections where we have issues of logistics as a perennial problem, it looks like preparation has been a perennial problem for sports generally in Nigeria. Then we now tend to now focus more on football. That even the football we're not prepping enough than the others. So why do you think this is so?
Well, it's all boils down to administration. The quality of administration.
Just hold that thought. Boils down to administration. We'll be back to continue from there. Please don't go away. Welcome back. So today you are talking about administration being the major challenge to Nigeria's sporting industry.
Absolutely.
Why do you say?
Well, it boils down to so many levels of administration. Political administration, then there's also administration within the entities that's supposed to run sports itself. That's the federations, the Ministry of Youth and Sports. There's a major disconnect. For example, there's a major disconnect between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. There's no symbiotic relationship between them. You'd expect that, for example, the average Nigerian student would love to participate in sports. The Nuga games are there for them and everything.
No, because practically every school in Nigeria has inter-house sports.
Yes.
So there's a sporting competition happening almost every other term.
Do they still have it like they used to?
Well, they do.
Well,
Okay.
the average primary or secondary school in Nigeria is situated in a 3-bedroom flat or a block of 6 flats. So how do you expect them to have any kind of sporting facilities?
Thank you.
We have schools that go out to rent fields just for their sporting days.
Sports.
As a kid, I can't even remember how much I ran and rolled in the dust in my own secondary school. We had facilities for everything. But that is not the case for the average Nigerian child now. The average Nigerian child now is locked up almost 24 hours. Once you come back from school, you're inside the house, you're not allowed to go out and play because of societal problems. But when I say administrative problems, I mean the fact that there is a major disconnect between the two ministries that should be focused on young people and ensuring that their futures are guaranteed both in education and in sports. We have athletes abroad who have degrees in engineering and stuff like that. But because they had the platform to go out and express themselves in other spheres when they retired, they had everything to fall back on. But that is not the case for the average Nigerian. I remember in school when if you dared to play for the school team and you missed a test in your department, that's an automatic extra year. But if there was some kind of symbiotic relationship between the educational board and also the Ministry of Youth and Sports, this would never have existed.